All right, so welcome back everyone to another episode of Beyond the Breakroom. Today, I have a representative from UAGC, and she goes by the name of Chanel Williams, and I'll let her introduce who she is and how it is that she's related to UAGC. Chanel, go ahead and take it away.
Hi, Marc. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, my name is Chanel Williams, and I'm one of the Education Partnership Representatives for the University of Arizona Global Campus, UAGC for short, and the SYKES relationship. So I support the Florida locations, actually Lakeland and DeLand, and I've actually been there a couple of times in the Breakroom, so some of you may have seen me when I come by to do our table sits. So my role is primarily to increase awareness around the tuition benefits and that is offered to SYKES employees and family members, and also doing events like these. So thank you so much for having me.
I'm definitely glad to have you. I'll be honest with you. I have so I work on a couple different accounts, and I have a TL who told me about it. And when she told me about it, I said, I've seen it, but I didn't know much about it. And she kind of told me, you might need to talk to them because I'm sure there's a lot of people who could probably use this benefit that don't even realize what we have to offer. So I guess my first question, and since I've got quite a laundry list here today, because there's a lot of questions that I'm sure people are going to want to know, and I'm hoping that I get them all, but if I don't, there'll be an opportunity to kind of give an overview of anything that I may have missed that might be important. But a lot of companies offer tuition programs for their employees. So what makes the SYKES benefit so different?
Well, I think, and we at UAGC think that it's definitely the full tuition grant program that makes us unique, but it's an educational benefit provided by UAGC and SYKES. So it's that collaboration of your tuition assistance and the full tuition grant that makes it really special. So those two combinations of resources allow students to come back to school without having to take out any loan debt. And that's really sort of our mission here at UAGC, is to kind of reduce the amount of loan debt in this country. And those two resources, your benefit at SYKES and the UAGC full tuition grant, allow students to go back to school without having to come out of their pocket. And I think that probably is one of the factors that makes us special and unique when comparing us to other institutions.
Okay, so I have to refocus my brain for a second. I want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. I've been working for over 20 years, and it's always been like, if you go to school, as long as you're taking this particular course, we'll reimburse you, or we'll give you a extra amount of dollars towards that degree. You're saying that an agent from SYKES, if they enroll in this program, could basically go to school and not have to pay a nickel? Nothing?
Right. So if you meet your tuition assistance eligibility requirements at SYKES, and the one caveat is that you do have to have at least a year of employment.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
You will have to have been employed with SYKES for at least a year.
Okay.
But if you haven't, we do have a benefit for you as well. So if you fall under that year term, then we do have another benefit as well. But still, having been there for a year, you would not have to pay a nickel, as you put it,
oh my goodness.
Just in enrolling in the full tuition grant program, right? So it covers books.
I was about to ask that.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Education related fees. And we can talk about that too, but yeah, you would not have to pay it literally for anything.
So, like I said, I had a list of questions, and that was one of my questions is, most of the time there's always some kind of catch, or there's some kind of sleeper option that people don't read, like the fine print stuff. And that was, what is the option that's going to kind of thin out someone's pockets that they don't realize? So I was wondering if they have to pay for books, but you already covered that. My next question was going to be, when I went to school, books were quite expensive. So if they're not paying for books, how are they getting the books? Are they like physical books, or are they like digital books? Like how does that work?
So we have both. But so the full tuition grant does cover required books for your courses. And most of them are through Constellation, which is our app that provides the digital option for electronic books. However, if the course that you're registered for does require a hard copy, that's covered. But if you decide, I really like to have the book in my hand and I don't like the digital book, then you would come out of your pocket to cover your preference versus the required, which is most of the time digital.
Okay.
The Constellation is a wonderful app that allows you to take that book anywhere as long as you have a mobile device or your computer, your laptop. You'll be able to get your book. So they're mostly digital, but you do have the option of getting the hard copy.
Okay. So I didn't anticipate an app, but I guess so that's going to be like an ad hoc question that I didn't actually have written down. But so if there's an app, if they're using the app for the books, do the books get downloaded onto their mobile device, or are they viewing them from like an online resource that the app kind of engages with? Because some people, there are some people who don't have a lot of app storage space on their phones. So if it's going to require them to like delete apps to get storage, that could create an issue. So I'm just wondering how that works.
Yeah, so it is a native app that is accessible for Apple and Android, and it's great for students who want to download the app too. But Constellation is a web-based app, I should say, that you would need to access the books just in case. So if it does come to the point where that's something that should create an issue, then you would speak to your academic advisor, and we can provide alternative options for you in the event that storage is an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, just let us know. It's very flexible and manageable. The program itself and are designed for adults who are working and may have issues like that come up. So that's a great question, a storage issue. I hadn't actually thought about that, when it comes to the apps, but that's a good question that they can work out with. Our IT is 24/7 technical support, and it's something that we'd be able to help out with.
Okay, perfect. So I guess my next question would be, is there a limit to the minimum? So when I went to school, I'm sure it's the same now, but there was always like a minimum amount of credits you could take and a maximum amount of credits. So is there a minimum or maximum number of credits that can be taken per semester?
Well, the great thing is with UAGC, we don't follow the traditional spring, summer, fall semesters, and approved employees actually complete up to 10 undergraduate courses per year and 8 graduate courses per year. So with the full tuition grant, you're taking one course at a time. So the undergraduate courses are one course every 5 weeks, and the master's courses are one course every 6 weeks. Okay. So since they are accelerated, we don't encourage taking more than one course at a time. But if you'd like to accelerate or graduate sooner, definitely work with the academic advisor to see if something you can get approved and fit into your schedule. But keep in mind that the full tuition grant only covers one course at a time.
Okay. Is there a GPA that needs to be maintained for each course? Like, yeah, I think I asked it correctly. Is there a GPA? Yeah. Do you need to maintain a GPA? Go ahead. That was my question. Do you need to maintain a GPA?
To stay in the program. Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, University of Arizona Global Campus has adopted SYKES tuition assistance policy. So it is whatever SYKES has deemed acceptable in their policy. And most companies, it's usually a B or C. You have to maintain a B or C. So we always refer you back to your tuition assistance policy because we adopt that. Okay. We provide you the sort of the same requirements that SYKES would require, that's outlined in your tuition assistance policy, and can be found at SYKES benefits at sykes.com.
Okay.
Or you contact your local HR representative. But keep in mind though, if you do need to repeat a course, we will cover, the grant actually I should say covers to a limit. The limit is 2 repeated courses, because we understand things happen. So if indeed you don't meet that GPA requirement, or you don't meet the grade requirement, it's not necessarily a GPA requirement, but a grade requirement. So for each course, you may have to to pass the course, maybe a B or C. So if you don't make that, and something happens and you unexpected and you don't get that grade, then you can repeat a course, or you're limited to repeated courses per term.
So that's kind of interesting, because that's a little further down on my list here that I had today, but the fact that you brought it up makes me want to kind of dig on it now. So we're in a position now where a lot of the reps are still working from home, and let's say one of their family members, they're doing the courses, they're working, and one of their family members, God forbid, gets COVID or gets sick and requires them to have to go to doctor's visits on a more consistent basis. I know when my grandmother wasn't doing too well, the family had to come together and put together a plan so that whoever was available could kind of set their schedule to be able to take them to those doctor's appointments where they're not going to be able to drive and things of that nature. So would that be one of the scenarios where if an agent's in the middle of their 5-week course, maybe they're 3 weeks in and they just don't have the time anymore, how does that affect them from a financial standpoint? And so how does that work if they're not able to complete that course at all? What would the scenario feel for them on the back end?
So definitely the student, if they ran into something unexpected, which we understand happens because most of our students at Global Campus are adults, so things do happen. So we have a dedicated academic advisor that they would reach out to sort of gain that approval for that specific situation, so that they could be given options about what would be best for them in order to either leave or stop that particular class or talk about re-entry, which happens. So as long as we can re-entry and we get that process underlined or outlined, then it shouldn't be a problem. Best thing is to talk to your academic advisor about your situation, get that approval, and then also talk to your faculty, your professor, just to let them know what's going on. And the main thing is communication, especially when you're taking classes online. Keeping everyone in the loop is going to be the best kind of advice that we can give, so that we can start planning for it. You can even take breaks. So breaks are, it's very flexible in terms that you can actually schedule a break into your plan. You would work with your academic advisor. That would increase the length and time of the program. But if you foresee something that you're gonna have to focus on or have an obligation, we can actually sort of build that into your individual academic plan, so that you can kind of take a break without having to, stop and start in the middle of a course. But in the event something happens, then you would just work with your advisor to figure out what the options would be. And if you needed to repeat that course, obviously that is part of the full tuition grant. You have a limit on that.
That is very interesting. I would not have thought about an ability to maybe possibly, I guess my way of internalizing what you said was, if you need be, you can push the pause button for a little bit and then unpush pause and continue, just like if you were listening to music and somebody was at the door and you had to go to the door. Let me open up the door. All right, let me put my music back on. I didn't realize that was an option. My other question would be related to success rates, but before I get to that, actually, you've mentioned something a few times that I didn't anticipate when I was trying to formulate what questions I would ask you. So what is this academic advisor that you keep mentioning?
So when you actually do start, we actually have several resources. We have a dedicated team of individuals that are assigned to you, so to speak, or a team that's assigned to you when you first start the program. And the academic advisor is one, or student advisor, sometimes those words are used interchangeably, is with you the way until graduation, actually. So that's your sort of that first point of contact outside of your professors that you go to for anything that you would need or any support that you would need if you feel that something is not the way you expected it to be, or you're not getting the answers you think you want. That person is who you will want to go to find a resource or gain more information about what you think you might need in order to be successful. But there is also a first class coach that is with you that first 5 or 6 weeks. We also have a financial aid advisor, career services, just several different things that you could tap into, including an online library. We have the writing center. We have on-demand tutoring through TutorMe. So it's so many different levels of support that are available to students when taking classes online. And the academic advisor is just one of them. And I mentioned it quite a bit because that's usually who you go to find out the other resources that you might need in order to be successful.
Okay. So that leads us right into the transition of success rates. So what are some of the success rates that you see in this type of program versus a traditional one that just covers maybe a set amount?
Yeah, actually, so I don't have the numbers on hand, but what we have found, we believe by participating in a program like this, the tuition grant program, that students persist. They matriculate and they move all the way until graduation because the funding obstacle is literally removed. So that's usually one of those challenges that, and I know it was for me, back in the day when I was getting, you have to kind of add up everything to see if this is going to be economical for you. And without having to do that, especially with the tuition grant, students stay in the program, they persist, especially the SYKES employees, because we also plan a graduation. We do come on site and we have what's called the UAGC Day to celebrate those individuals that actually have completed the program. And because it's so flexible, even if you do have to stop, like we talked about earlier, like if there's something that happens, and because we understand that, you jump back into the program. Even the UAGC Promise allows students to start the program in their first course to try it out, to see, if this is going to fit into your schedule, if this is something you think you can handle, as long as you connect with us and withdraw before that. I think it's that 4th week of class, but we want to make sure that it's a good fit for you. So we have all of these different resources in place to make sure that this is a great partnership for both parties, and it's been very successful thus far.
I mean, you're saying stuff that I didn't. I guess I did some research, but I guess I could have done more, just because you're saying things that didn't dawn on me to ask about, like the tutors and things like that. So those are all good things that I didn't even think about asking. I just kind of assumed that if you were working from home, you would use Google and stuff as a tutor, but I guess I'm just thinking the wrong way. All right, everyone. So again, through the magic of Zoom, we're back with Chanel, and I got to tell you, we had some storms in the last couple days, so it may have been a prerequisite for why we had issues on the first part. But I'm thankful a couple days later we were able to get back up together, and we're going to go ahead and continue getting some of that very good information that we need about the educational program. So Chanel, welcome back. And let's go ahead and get right back into it. So where we were at in the last episode was, can you tell me what graduation is like? Are there options for a representative to walk down the aisle if someone wants to do that after they've completed their requirements and earned a degree? And something that I thought about after we had to put a pause on it was, are they able to bring someone if they wanted to have someone there to take those picture shots of them getting a diploma? What's that experience like?
Yes. So Pre-COVID times, Mark, we did or had always encouraged individuals to come out and participate in a live graduation where you actually get to walk across the stage and bring your family members. And we talk about that usually in the beginning of your process to kind of get you to thinking about that, because our students are from all over the world actually. So it's something that you may have to plan for. So we always like to encourage the students to come out and experience the graduation with us, because we do put on an entire day of activities, including picture stations and different opportunities for you to meet your faculty. So we have a whole day of, or had anyway, a whole day of activities planned. But unfortunately, due to COVID and the pandemic, we have transitioned that to a virtual experience and holding 2 virtual graduations per year, where you can actually kind of participate and do everything virtually and online as much as we possibly can. But hopefully getting back to that in-person experience very soon.
Okay. So with the in-person piece of it, right? So this is new to me. So from walking down the aisle perspective, is that something that would happen on site where you guys would come to the SYKES location that the representatives that participated in work from, and they would do like a on-site walk down, or is there an actual campus that someone can literally, if they want to say, hey, I'm taking a quote unquote vacation to go graduate, would they fly down to a campus and actually have the actual on campus graduation experience?
Yes, so both. So we would prepare you for coming on site and putting together the graduation where you actually walk down the aisle with your cap and gown. And we also will work with your leaders at your location to see if there's something we can do there for you and your coworkers to show what you've achieved and what you've accomplished there. And we do that by partnering with your leaders and HR, and we bring out balloons and snacks, and we make it really special for you and want everybody to know all the hard work you put into this, and how we, of course, are proud of you and involve your coworkers as well into that experience. So yeah, we do both. So we do have the opportunity for you to come on site and walk across the stage with your classmates.
Okay.
And also bring that experience to your site, to your job site, so that your coworkers can see what you've accomplished during your time here at UAGC. So both.
Okay. Cool. So one last follow-up question to that, and like family members, if they come down to your campus, are they able to bring any family members? Like once the COVID situation's over with, is there a limit to how many people they can bring, or is there a requirement of who actually they can bring?
In the past, there hadn't been. You could bring your family members and just kind of let us know, and there wasn't really a cap on that.
Okay.
I think moving forward, they will be looking into a minimum number of people that you can bring just to be safe. But
Okay.
definitely start thinking about your immediate family members and how you can bring them to share that wonderful experience with you.
Okay, perfect.
Open back up. Yeah.
So that leads me to a question that some people may or may not like. Some people who have great credit don't care. Some people who don't have really good credit, it would probably be a concern of theirs. But how does credit scores apply? I know when people apply for jobs, it seems to be now a standard practice that the employers run a credit check and things of that nature. So if a rep has had bad credit, does that eliminate them from the opportunity? How does the whole credit score, if at all, affect their ability to participate in this particular program?
Right, sure. So the good thing is your credit score does not, or we don't take into consideration a person's credit score when applying to the University of Arizona Global Campus. So that's not a factor into whether you're accepted or whether or not you can use the full tuition grant, because remember, it's really designed for you to not have to take out any loans and not go through the government funding piece of everything. So We do require, just so you know, that we require a credit card to be placed on file as a last resort 60 days after class is completed. So that's just something to protect, we have you put that on file just in case something happens, but it's a last resort.
Okay, all right. So here's my other question with the online piece, and I'm not that familiar with how it works, but I know that there's typically 2 semesters, a fall and a spring semester. So with online, since you're doing it at home, how far in advance does someone need to apply in order to be eligible for an upcoming semester? Or maybe the better question is, are there still the same typical semesters, whereas there's a fall and a spring and they have to, I guess basically, can they enroll at any time? Can they start tomorrow if they wanted to?
Well, it usually takes a little bit longer than that, but the good thing is classes start every Tuesday, and we are not on the traditional spring, summer, fall calendar. Classes, you can jump in as soon as you can complete all the administrative requirements, including meeting SYKES eligibility requirements and also UAGC's admissions requirements. And getting all of that done usually takes about 2 weeks to get done, and we find that students, once completing all of that administrative, the process can jump in maybe 3 or 4 weeks after you decide you're ready to make that leap and start a program with us. So it doesn't take very long at all.
Okay, all right. So I only really have one other question, and then I'm going to kind of leave it out there for you to see if there may be questions that I should have asked that I missed. But my last question that I have is, are you allowed to change majors? And if so, is there a limit?
So yes, you are allowed to change majors, but that could impact the length of the program. So just, when you're thinking about changing majors, how far you are into the program that you previously selected and what's left to be completed for the new program. So you and your academic advisor will take into consideration what that looks like and determine, if switching at this point is going to be what's best for you. But yes, you're certainly allowed to do that.
Okay, all right, cool. So that's all the questions really that I had. At this point, I would normally say I appreciate you joining, taking the time to explain this to our representatives, but because this program is so drastically different than anything I've ever conceived of or done research on, I'm sure that there may be something that I may have missed. Maybe there's a question that was relevant I didn't have listed. So this is kind of your time frame. Is there something that I should have asked that I didn't? And if there is, what relevant things should have been brought up that our representatives that may be watching this video would need to know?
Well, all the questions were great, and they really encompass what we would be sharing with your agents on a regular basis. I just wanted to add that all programs are not offered in all states, just in case this is something that is shared throughout the entire SYKES organization, because I know how large you are as an organization. So in the event that it is shared with maybe Arkansas, so all programs are not offered in every state. So that's something your agents would work with the advisor to determine based on where they live, available to them if they would want to start a program with us. So I just wanted to add that piece just in case it's something that's shared outside of Florida.
Okay.
And lastly, and I may have covered this earlier, but you must have at least 1 year of work experience with SYKES in order to qualify or to be eligible for the full tuition grant. And if you don't have that 1 year, we still have benefits available to you that you could take advantage of instead of the full tuition grant, or in lieu of the full tuition grant. So those are just those 2 little things that I wanted to make you aware of before we ended today.
Okay, cool. I think that's actually something that I did not think about as well. So you've gotten me twice now with the tutoring thing I didn't think about, and whether or not it applied to every state that we may have an office in. So I'm also going to assume it only would apply for United States agents. It would not apply to any of the SYKES team members that we have in other continents in the world. Is that correct?
Absolutely, right.
Okay.
If they were international, the full tuition grant would not apply, but the tuition benefit that we offer, that savings that I mentioned,
Hmm.
they could take advantage of that.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So usually, at this point, again, I would say thanks for joining. I really appreciate all the information. But I want to make sure that when I finish this out today, I give all the right information. So if you have a few more minutes, I'd like to have a quick commercial break so I can get set up. And then I'd like to go ahead and launch the web page so that you can kind of tell me if I'm a first time user to the website, where I need to go. That way, when I do it, I'm making sure that I had all the pertinent information that a representative would need to know. Is that okay with you?
That's perfect. Yes.
All right. So we'll be right back with Beyond the Breakroom, and we'll get right to that. So we'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we're back, and right now we're on the University of Arizona Global Campus website. So I'm going to move some things around on my screen, but basically you'll want to go to https:// and then you're going to go to www.uagc.edu. You're going to hit enter into that bar, and for the purposes of this, I'm just going to go ahead and click another tab to make sure that everything still shows the way it needs to. So once you hit return, it's going to bring you to this particular website, which is everything that we just typed in with the addition of a / for the word success, another / for the word ZES, and then another / for the word SYKES. That may be too much for some people to remember, so the easiest thing is to just go to the main landing page and type in, which we're going to do right now. Go to the start menu and you just type in SYKES. It'll automatically bring the landing page here for you, and then you can go ahead and click on that. Once you click on it, it'll bring you to this page. So from this page, Chanel, what's important for our representatives to see?
Thank you, Mark, and thanks for going to the actual landing page or dedicated SYKES landing page. So what I'd like you to do is scroll down just a little bit to where you see the virtual one-on-one appointment link.
That's this right here?
Yes.
Okay.
You can click on if you would like to schedule a little time to speak with us to learn a little bit more about the full tuition grant and the benefits that we offer the SYKES agents and employees. So if you have 5 or 10 minutes throughout your day, on the weekend, there are evening hours, just click on that link and you choose a time that works best for you. And we will virtually set up an appointment. It will virtually set up an appointment with one of us, and we can discuss what you're looking to do and how we can help you using the full tuition grant or the tuition savings benefit.
Okay, everyone. So just really quickly, when you click on the virtual appointment link, as Chanel indicated, it will bring you to this page right here. And basically, all you need to fill out is the date, the time. You can select anyone, or you can select Chanel. Ideally, you can select anyone. You can just select the time, and it'll set you up. You'll want to additionally fill out your name, your email, your telephone number, and address is optional. And any kind of special notes or requests that you may have is also optional, so you don't need to fill that part in. But what you will need to fill in is your state, province, country, region is optional. But you'll want to go ahead and click on these little legal disclosures down here at the bottom. Once you click on that button, you'll click on the book. An email will be sent, and then someone from that team will get in contact.
And then the only other thing here is you mentioned the video. So that's this video, right? The full tuition grant at the University of Arizona Global Campus.
Yes, so this video goes into a little more detail about the full tuition grant and the collaboration of your tuition assistants and how it works. So I encourage you to take some time and just watch that video to get more information about how it all works as well. So lots of good stuff on this page that can answer some of your questions, but we'd love the opportunity to chat with you one-on-one.
Okay, perfect. Now, I do notice here on the top right, there's a telephone number. So let's say someone does not have access to a computer or doesn't have a reliable internet at their home, or any other number of things that could be an issue with them doing everything online. If they called this number, would they still be able to get a appointment set up and things of that nature?
Absolutely, yes. Be able to speak to one of our advisors that will be able to answer questions as well. So if that's the more preferred option, certainly feel free to call that number as well.
All right. And for those of you who are watching, that number is going to be 855-805-6911, which is also located right here on the top right of this page right here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Or actually, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. We'll get back to our regular view. And again, I really appreciate you taking the time today to kind of go through the steps with us. And also, I appreciate you getting back with me after a couple days of us dealing with some technical challenges. I hope this has been beneficial for our representatives that are watching. And I know it's been beneficial for me because I learned quite a bit as well. Before I let you go, normally I ask people about motivation. So this is a question that you probably didn't anticipate being asked, but I'll ask it anyway. Considering that you're in the field of education and things of that nature, what do you tell people to help motivate them? There are people who want to go to school and they get discouraged. There are people who are in school and get discouraged. And then you have people who are just highly motivated altogether. Those are the people that, they when I was in school in elementary, junior high, high school, they were always in the guidance counselor's office. They were like the best friends of all the advisors. They were just super pumped about school. So because we've got that varying degree, what would you tell the people who are watching right now who may not be motivated to make the step towards increasing their education? What would you say is something that they need to hear to help motivate them to get out the chair and get going?
Yeah, that is a great question. And when going on site and back in the day before pre-COVID, we actually had a chance to really connect with people and hear their stories and what some of the challenges that they've experienced or what's keeping them from living their dreams. And I always tell people that if it's something you're thinking about, at least try it. At least look into it or ask the questions. And even if you don't know what to ask, let us know, it's something I'm thinking about, but I'm just not sure. And I hear that a lot, I'm not sure, I'm not comfortable. And there are a lot of challenges and objections to going to school because it's not a priority. It's not something that people think, I need to do right now. But if it's something that you are it's in the back of your mind, or it's always been something you've thought about doing, that's really the hardest step. When you make the decision to say it's something you want to do, then let us help you determine if this is going to be a good fit for you. Don't write it off. Don't fall into that trap of why you can't do it, but let us at least give you the opportunity or show you some resources that can help you do it, because it's not our job to just enroll you in school. We want you to live out that dream and find your passion. And that's really what I tell people to help motivate them so that they don't feel like they're just going to school, but they're actually realizing their dreams. And we want to help you do that. And that's part of my role. And that's part of what I hope you got from me today.
Absolutely. I think I don't think you could have said it any better.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate you taking the time today to go over this with us, and I really hope that this segment, this episode of Beyond the Breakroom really helps get people out of the chair and engaged in benefiting themselves from an educational standpoint, but also from an uplifting standpoint, because the more you know, the better educated you are, the more opportunities you have available to you. So again, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you joining today. As always with SYKES on the Beyond the Breakrooms, we help people one caring interaction at a time. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and enjoy the day. We'll see you next time on Beyond the Breakroom.